Celebrini to IR. The Sharks play tough against the Ducks, and Askarov makes his debut for the Barracuda.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also co-host of Western Conference Tuesdays on the Locked On NHL channel. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network, where we cover your team every day. If you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. Or do both. Both is great. Today, we're going to be discussing, of course, Macklin Celebrini going to IR. Is it time to panic? Spoiler, no, it's not. We're also going to be talking about the Sharks playing a very even, good game against the Ducks and just getting goalied. And the Barracuda season starts with Askarov just doing Askarov things and shutting out the rain. So we'll talk about the Cuda's weekend as well. So before we get to all that, do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. So we do, of course, have to start with Macklin Celebrini going on IR. They retroactively put him on IR starting right after the game on Thursday. As soon as he can be back is on Friday against the Winnipeg Jets. They're calling it a week-to-week injury per Shang Peng. It's doesn't sound like it's too serious. I believe also Elliot Friedman said it was a hip injury. He played through it on opening night. So to me, that's a good sign that they are trying to, again, look at this. You have an 18-year-old kid who's going to be the future of your franchise. Do not rush him to try to get him out there right now, right? He kind of was dealing with an injury. I assume it's the same injury. Kind of dealing through this with, I'm guessing it probably started with the toe pick in the preseason game that where he left. Let him get 100% healthy, and then we will see you celebrating. So I am not worried. Now, if week to week becomes like he's not skating by the end of the month type of thing, and we're starting to, get into mid-November, then you can worry. But as of right now, like I am perfectly fine with him, taking some time off, making sure this thing is 100%. That way it doesn't become a nagging issue all season long. That's the last thing you want, is these nagging issues that become an issue all season long, especially because, as we know, by the end of the season, every player has a nagging issue. You want to try to kind of take care of this, nip it in the bud before it becomes one of those. So I think for Celebrini, like, let him take some time off, let him get ready, and then start kind of ramping back up here soon. I think they're, from what I read, heard, it seems like they were going to kind of give it a week and then start to kind of ramp things up here and see how he does from that. Remember, with these types of things, like, you're going to see them push it, right? You start to kind of see him ramping up activities, see how the body responds to that. And then if it's going well, you can continue to kind of ramp things up and get him ready to play again. So I would assume, even though if he makes the trip, that's a good sign. Maybe they also want him to kind of just life on the road for a little bit. If he doesn't make it, then like that's fine as well. But no need to panic yet. Let's let our child get fully healthy before he can continue to rampage the NHL. So yes, not worried about Celebrini. Well, yeah, long career, long season, et cetera. So as for the Sharks, they played the Ducks on Saturday night. I was at a wedding. First of all, congratulations to my colleague Jay, who got married this weekend. you inviting me. Congratulations to him and his bride. Great time. Did not watch the Sharks game until Sunday. So big takeaways from that game. We'll start with that, and then we'll kind of dig into the numbers and all of our normal stuff. But I think the big takeaways from this game is this team, like, they're just playing much better hockey. And in this game, they were this was a very, very even game between two teams. That was a lot of back and forth, times when the Ducks controlled, times when the Sharks controlled. This was the process of results. This was great process on Saturday night, the way that they played hard, they played physical, they play like they got killed a bunch of penalties, but the penalty kill looks to be legit. I thought Will Smith played really well. I'll talk about him here a little bit later, but I thought the Granlund line was amazing. Again, I'll talk about them a little bit later, but I was thoroughly impressed with the way that this game was played. And yes, I was at a wedding and I wasn't watching, but I was still kind of keeping, when I saw it was like 0-0 until midway through the third period, I was kind of expecting like, oh yeah, like one of those like ugly slog of a games when I went to watch it. And I was, again, like, this was a very entertaining game, even though in the results going into it, I thought it was a very entertaining game. And I thought these two teams played very well. And I thought the Sharks did a very good job of neutralizing like the Carlson Cutter Gauthier line as well. And Vitek Vanacek, like, kind of been, the momentum has been building up for Vitek Vanacek. He played superb in the preseason, and then he comes out here and continues to build on it. Giving up just one goal on 29 shots, like, you'll take that all day and twice on Sunday. Like, that he has been playing very well. Blackwood, I thought, again, like from the opening game, he kept them in the first period when the Sharks did not come to play, or we're kind of dealing with a lot of the butterflies and just stuff with all the festivities with the first game, et cetera, et cetera. But in the third period, when you would have loved to see Blackwood kind of make a save, he didn't really kind of deliver there. I thought Vitek Vanacek from the jump was outstanding on Saturday night, and was, again, Dostal, he's good. Like, there's a reason why they believe he's going to be like the heir apparent to Gibson whenever they trade Gibson or whatever happens with John Gibson, who always seems like he has 3 years left on his contract. But yeah, I think you have to come away from that game just feeling about so much better, like, about the process from this team, right? And especially the first game, where it was, you saw a very good second period, right? And then sandwiched by 2 bad periods. In this game, I thought you saw more consistent play throughout the game, and the Sharks, were heavily kind of dominated in shot attempts at 5v5. Like, they were the more consistent team in like shot attempts. They also, like, kind of creating scoring chances. They did a much better job of that. Like, high danger chances, the Sharks were a much better team in this game. They just, unfortunately, sometimes you run into very good goalies, and they're, of course, the neutralizing factor in it. But yeah, I think the Sharks are on the right. This is still a very talent poor team, right? They're gonna have a big test on Tuesday when they head out to Dallas to play the Stars. That is a very, very good team. But if they can continue to play hard, and I think that's one of the themes of the season, right? Just play hard, be competitive night in, night out. Don't just get shellacked 7-1, 6-2 type of thing. Like, and I don't think you're going to see that as much, especially with that third line, that Cunnin, Wenberg, Barkley, Goodrow line. And if you've listened to Locked On Sharks long enough, you know how, like, Luke Cunning's not my favorite player. I thought the Barkley Goodrow, like, I didn't like the process for Barkley Goodrow, like, how they acquired him. But those guys kind of set the tone, and they play hard every shift. They play like it's the last shift of their lives, and they set the tone for this team. And I think it helps to hold especially your young guys like Will Smith and Celebrini was out there, and Eklund and all these other guys accountable to like playing the same type of style of just play as hard as you can for as long as you possibly can. So that's why Mike Greer is a general manager and I'm just an idiot with the microphone. But that third line really does help to establish the way the Sharks want to play. Could it be a more skilled third line? 100%, right? On most teams, that is your fourth line. But the Sharks are using that line to really try to establish how they want to play hockey, and you're seeing it start to kind of trickle into all the other lines and the way that they play hockey. So we'll look at the numbers behind this game, talk about Will Smith's night. We'll talk about the Granlund Eklund Toffoli line and how dominant they were, and then we'll talk about the Barracuda, which had an amazing Saturday and then an all-time poop the bed moment on Sunday. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. Hey guys, sometimes intimate moments happen spontaneously. We want to always be ready so we can perform in the bedroom. Hims provides access to treatments that can help you stay hard and last longer, giving you that boost of confidence so you can be ready whenever the mood strikes. Hims is changing men's healthcare, providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. Hims provides access to a range of doctor-trusted ED treatments like chewable hard mints, Viagra, and Cialis, and their generics for up to 95% cheaper. The process is 100% online, so no need for uncomfortable doctor visits. You just answer a series of questions on their site, and a medical provider will determine the right treatment option. If prescribed, your medication ships directly to you in discreet packaging for free. No insurance is needed. One low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. They have hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers. Hims can help you find ED options that works for you. Start your free online visit today by visiting hims.com/lockedon. That's HIMS.com/lockedon for your personalized ED treatment options. hims.com/lockedon. The products mentioned are chewable compound products that are not approved or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with the healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Prices vary based on the product and subscription plan. All right, before we continue, do want to, of course, thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network for your second listen. Go check out one of the great shows here on the Locked On Network, like Locked On Fantasy Hockey. I know the season has started. Maybe you hate your fantasy team and need to try to go scrounge up guys on the waiver wire. Maybe you need to find a replacement for Macklin Celebrini. That's where Locked On Fantasy Hockey will help you out to try to navigate. And it is a long season, and they're going to help you try to win a championship. So check them out wherever you get podcasts. And, of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. So let's dig into the numbers behind this game. And, again, 5v5, the Sharks, this is a great performance where they just got goalied. Little under 40 minutes. There was a lot of penalty time. The Sharks took way too many penalties in this game. But still, under 40 minutes, the Sharks out shot attempts 47-35 in favor of the Sharks. Shots forward 24-22 in favor of the Sharks. Scoring chances 23-14 in favor of the Sharks. High danger chances 13-5 in favor of the Sharks. Expected goals forward 2.92 to 1.53 in favor of the Sharks. Like, the Sharks were applying pressure like the majority of this game and just couldn't finish, especially the beginning of the third period where the Sharks really took it to the Ducks in the third period, especially kind of coming out of the power play, and they kept the momentum going, and they just unfortunately couldn't cash in. So this was a great process over results. This was great process, just poor results tonight. So, or on Saturday night. As for the forward lines, so 5v5, Eklund, Granlund, Toffoli played together for 9:33. 16 shot attempts, gave up 2. Insane, almost 90% Corsi for. It's 8-1 actual shots. Expected goals for was 0.8 to 0.04. This line was great throughout the game, and they were mostly matched up with the Leo Carlson line, which makes it, I think, even more impressive because we know that Carlson line can I know he's a second-year player, but like that is a very talented line with Leo Carlson and Cutter Gauthier together. Like that's a very talented line, and I thought the way that the Granlund line, right, if that line really push the offense, and Granlund reunited with Eklund, like those two work so well off to each other. I wonder, even though how well this line worked, I wonder if in Celebrini's absence, if maybe we see the Lund line reunited, then Will Smith and Klim Kostin and Tyler Toffoli put together, to maybe try to give Toffoli a little bit more scoring options and just let the Lund line cook until Celebrini gets back. We'll see kind of what happens there. But again, like if you process the results, this line just dominated Anaheim. So maybe you don't want to break them up. But yeah, that was a great performance by them. Zetterlund, Smith, Klim Kostin. They played 836, 7-10 shot attempts. Actual shots, though, was 1-8. They did give up a goal, 0.11 to 0.51 expected goals for on that line. Even though, again, like the numbers aren't the greatest here for Will Smith, I actually really liked his game. And I think you're starting to see him continue to build some confidence with every game, every shift. And if you remember back at the beginning of his Boston College days, little slow out of the gate. And there was a lot of Sharks fans who were like, what do we do here? Especially with Michkov. Like there was a lot of Sharks fans who were like, oh my gosh, we blew the pick. He's played 2 games. And even if you go back to the preseason, you know, he's played 5-6 NHL-ish games, right? But I think you're seeing the confidence start to build with him. I like that he's being more like that. He's being confident with his shot and continuing to shoot. I think Will Smith is at his best when he is shooting the puck. I know he's a great passer and distributor, but I think he needs to continue to shoot the puck to kind of to build that confidence. And I wouldn't be surprised if once he sees it go in for the first time, if you get that light bulb click with him, and maybe like, or at least kind of that first step with him. So I liked his game. I know on the one goal against, right, like he maybe is a little bit aggressive trying to defend and let his man kind of get, and there was some miscommunication between the defenseman and him as they were trying to come back on like a 3-on-2 type of scenario or 3-on-3 scenario. And and that's going to happen as a 19-year-old kid playing in a second NHL game. But I like the direction that his game's going. I think we're going to see that light bulb game for him sooner rather than later. So the Luke Cunnin, Wenberg, Goodrow line, like I talked about earlier, 830, 5v5, 9-5 shot attempts, 4-3 actual shots, 0.19 to 0.08 expected goals for. And again, like this is a set the tone type of line, and they live up to that very well. So I'm liking what I'm again, not my favorite collection of players, but they are living up to the role that is asked of them, and they're doing a spectacular job at it. So, and then we had Nico Sturm, Ty Dellinger, and Carl Grundstrom. Grundstrom making his Sharks debut. 428 time on ice, 7-5 shot attempts, 5-3 actual shots, 0.74 to 0.12. I would love to see some more of that line, but again, with the Sharks playing, so they had 5 penalty kills tonight, and those type, like that bottom 6 is relied heavily to kind of kill those kill those, especially guys like Dellandrea and Sturm and Wenberg and Goodrow and kind of like those guys are relied heavily to be those big time penalty killers. So, but I thought like Dellandrea was this close to scoring. If he gotten a little bit more oomph on it, he probably gets it. He had a nice kind of little mini breakaway. Like I really pleased with the way the Sharks played. They got goalied. Just again, because we're masochists. At all situations, expected goals for the Sharks was 3.58, and they got scored 0 goals. So, yeah, but process of results. They played very well. If they keep playing hockey like that, you're going to see the production going forward. So that's the big question, though, is can they continue to play that way, play that style, which I think that's the style that they want to play. But I think you're going to start to see production here really soon if they continue to play that way. So really, really fun game. Really nice little treat on a Sunday afternoon. So next we're going to talk about the Barracuda, which it felt like I was going to get a nice little treat. And then all of a sudden at the very end did not. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 and bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. So right now, again, I love the dead cat bounce that you get when you fire your coach. The Jets for some reason on Monday night. I like the Jets against the Bills, and then you just bet against the Jets for the rest of the season, or until Tua gets back, keep picking the under on Dolphins games. So you can do all that over at FanDuel.com. All right, the Barracuda, which opened their season down in Ontario versus the Reign. We have to start with Askarov, who not too much work, 22 saves, but I mean, what better performance could you want from him in his first game in teal with a shutout? And of course, shutting down the net after he does it. Right? That's just like a nice little like, oh yeah, Askarov is one of the best goalie prospects in the world right now. And he's going to be a Shark for the foreseeable future. And I know there's already people like, bring him up. Just this Barracuda team might be good, and I wouldn't be mad if Askarov plays the majority of his games with the Barracuda this season, just because a lot of these young players, guys like Robbins, and if Daniel Gushin goes back, or like Cardwell or Co, and some like these guys who kind of like, this is that year 3 for them. Like they have worked really hard and they deserve to play meaningful games at the end of the season. So I think this Barracuda team, after watching them, like I think this Barracuda team is going to be a very good Barracuda team. They've still got some growing pains right now. You have a lot of new pieces kind of coming together. But I think as the season goes on, this team is deep. I think they have a lot of different scoring options, and I think they're going to be very good in the Pacific. Now, maybe not the best team, but I think this is easily a playoff team if they continue to play the way they did this weekend. They have to, just like the Sharks, have to clean up the penalties. Way too many penalties, and that does seem to be a John McCarthy kind of staple of his team, getting too many penalties. But the way the talent injection into this team was evident with the additions that they had, right? Jimmy Schultz making it just an adult along the blue line. Like this blue line is just so much better than what we've seen the past couple seasons. Even Jake Furlong already being trusted as like the first penalty kill unit. Like Furlong is going to have himself a really nice season. Luca Cagnoni, you saw plenty of Luca Cagnoni plays, especially I was watching the Sunday game, which they lost. Well, I'm trying to be positive right now, but you just see that like it's just a much deeper and better constructed roster from this team, and I think all the pieces really make sense. And they're also missing two of their potential best blue liners in Jack Thompson, who got recalled by the Sharks, and then also Lucas Carlson, who started the season on IR. This team, like when they add those pieces in, or if they add those pieces in, it's going to be a very, very, very good team. And then the Askarov question, and Georgi Romanov was outstanding on Sunday and probably deserved a little bit better, especially at the end of the game there, where with the Sunday game where they give up 2 goals in the final 2 minutes to lose 4-3. Very much felt like the Barracuda were playing with fire, as they were just like it was the typical march to the penalty box. The rain heavily outshot them in this game because they spent so much time penalty killing. But like you see a lot of positive plays from some of the young forwards. Like I want to start with Tristen Robbins, who looks 100% healthy. He, of course, last year, right, he gets injured in preseason, and he just never really kind of gets back to being the Tristen Robbins that we know, kind of making that jump that we know. He was flying all over the place this weekend. Had a goal and assist on Sunday. One of their top penalty killer. Like any situation you need Robbins to play, he's going to play it. But you just see the speed and the jump is back in his game. And that was one of the things like coming out of, going to the 2020 draft and coming out of Saskatoon, was how good of a skater he was. And like how like he has that afterburn that you kind of don't expect, but you see it, like he is fully back to being Tristen Robbins, which is a good, like great development for the Barracuda. Filip Bystedt, it's not a fluke what he's doing, man. He just scores he is just going to put up points every game because he's going to play in all situations. And he was this close. Like he missed on it was a 2-on-1 shorthanded opportunity, and like 9 times out of 10 he's scoring that. But this was that one time where he basically just shoves the puck right under the goalie's pads there and doesn't get a goal. But Bysted's kind of getting the Eklund treatment this year, because there's going to be people ask, like, why isn't Bystedt playing the NHL? He's going to get the Eklund treatment, where he's going to spend the entire season with the AHL. He might get a taste at the end of the year, but he's going to spend this season with the Barracuda, really ironing out and rounding out his game. So that way next season he can be on the Sharks, and much like Eklund, if you need to play power play, if you need to play penalty kill, if you need like 5v5, you're not going to have to worry about him, right? And that's kind of the plan, I think, for Bystedt. But you already see in the scoring product, he just looks so much better on North American ice compared to over in the SHL. Yeah, he's I myself, I need to do more talking on Bystedt, because every time I watch him, I'm just like, man, he's going to be good. So, and especially as the third center, it's going to be like the Sharks center depth is going to be ridiculous here really soon, very, very quick. So, but yeah, I think for the Barracuda, like they gotta fix the penalty issue. And I know they want to play tough and they want to play hard. And, guys like Anthony Vincent, like they're going to play until the very, very edge. That's what you love about them. But they gotta be smarter about some of these penalties, right? And it's always the tripping penalties, or like the low effort penalties that seems to kind of get them in trouble. So I think this Barracuda team is going to be very good, though, and they're going to deserve our attention here on this show and just throughout, because of it feels like all the pieces are kind of really coming together for this team. So like Cardwell's very good. Like Cardwell was good. Like even actually on Sunday, Cardwell has some missed opportunities, and he still had a good game. Like he would have had an amazing game if he capitalized on them. But Cardwell, just again, wherever you need him to play, he's going to do it to 1,000% of his ability. But just it felt bad. Like the Barracuda, they felt like they had this game and just pooped the bed in the worst possible situations there. But I'm feel very confident about this Barracuda team and where it's heading. So that's gonna be it for me tomorrow. For today, excuse me. We'll be back tomorrow. Then of course we have Dallas on Tuesday. So plenty of good stuff coming here at Locked On Sharks. Make sure you're following along wherever you get podcasts, and of course you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter at MyFryHole. Till tomorrow. Bye, friends.